and other people write their stuff. And we met through Scott Adams, who writes Dilbert and has written a number of bestsellers. I'm not sure if Joshua helped him with that or not, or if he can even say who he's helped. But I'm very curious about it because I know a lot of executives who've expressed an interest to me, and asked sort of how did you write your book, and I just bashed my head against a wall until it stopped hurting. But I think it would be much better had I known Joshua back then. So Joshua, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, John. As you were alluding to everyone who's watching right now, I'm a ghostwriter. I'm the person that brings the time and the talent to the book process that not necessarily everyone comes to the book writing process. There's a lot of reasons that executives, experts, and entrepreneurs say that they need a book, such things as like packaging decades of expertise all in one place. Telling stories that they've told 1,000 times, but telling them succinctly, concisely in one volume. Using the book to book speaking gigs, get the keynotes, do consulting work, coaching, service providing, all sorts of activities can result from a book. So I always like to say that a book is a key that can open many doors for your career, for your business. I've written books for everyone from your A-list celebrity types, household names, on down to the person who's got a startup and they want to get the word out about their business, actually get investors for their business. And they do that by sharing the wisdom of their business model and experience in 300 pages or so. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've ghosted over 40 books,
Wow.
which puts me probably in the top 0.1% of experienced ghostwriters in the world. It's good to be here, and it's good to be here with you, John.
Have any of them been a big hit?
Oh yes, oh yes. Things such as selling 10,000 copies a month every month, making them over $1 million in revenue directly resulting from the book would not have been possible without the book. $300,000 in just 3 months. In one other case, using the book to book themselves solid. One particular consultant, she'd never had a waiting list before, had always been in kind of the feast or famine cycle, and so for the first time built herself a sustainable business through her book. She doubled her best, ideal sales goal for the book. Fantastic stuff. Books outselling some of the big names out there from some of my kind of breakout star authors. And then there's intangible things like getting media interviews that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten, mainstream media even, and podcasts and interviews, and just creating a splash for not just your book but your brand that gets you exposure that would not be possible without having this masterpiece of a book.
Well, mine isn't much to write home about. I did actually more than pay it off, so I'm happy that way. But and wonderful reviews actually. But I never had a publicist. Scott does suggest that if you're going to do a book, you should get a publicist in one of his books. Do you have connections in that area? Is that part of how this unfolds?
Most ghostwriters, when you say, "Can you help me with my book?" they say, "I'll help you up to the point until you have a Word document, and then you're on your own." I've developed alongside the ghostwriting business a new way to get published and to promote your book called ghost publishing. Ghostwriting is you pay someone else to write your book, do all the work, you take
Right.
all the credit, you get all the royalties. Ghost publishing, same model in which you're paying someone else to set up an independent publishing business right alongside your personal brand or your existing business, and then launch the book, publish the book, promote the book internationally, and get you those valuable speaking engagements and the podcast appearances, the radio and television interviews as well. So it's a full service company so that by the end of the process, when authors come to me, they not just have that little Word document sitting in the inbox to which they have to say, what am I
Right.
going to do with this? But they have an actual publishing business that has released their book and is promoting it around the world.
Okay, you got to go slower in that spot because my perspective was that I could go try to find a publicist for my book, or I could just get it done and put it on Kindle and get you get a nice share of the revenue, I think I get 67% of the price of the book or something. Pretty good. Which you don't usually get if you have the publicist, or if you have the publisher, rather. There's a publicist and a publisher, right? Are you saying so? Explain how those layers come together if you have a turnkey option.
Yes, yes. I know that many of the people listening right now, you have read, you're familiar with the blue ocean strategy, that book,
Yeah,
the idea
yeah,
in
okay,
which you go to your market and you ask them, what are the things that are must-haves for you, and what are the things that are just you don't care about? So I applied that model to the world of writing books, publishing books, marketing books to find out what are the must-haves and what are the forget-me-nots, and the result of that process is the ghostwriting and ghost publishing package that is the core offer we present to executive clients. So by the time that they're done with us, they have a book that is available for sale in over 100 countries. They own all the copyright, the distribution rights, the promotional rights, and the book is being promoted. And not only that, but we have search engine optimization techniques which allow
sure.
books to be found organically and actually rank very high on the first page of Amazon results so that they can literally not market the book at all and they're still making money. So it is the answer to all of the old way of doing publishing, the way that's broken, that doesn't
Right,
allow the
right.
best books to get to the
That
top.
seemed really broken to me. Yeah, and so that's why I did the self publishing. And I was when I first published my book, Spinning Straw into Gold. I was like a pioneer on Kindle. I had the only book with that title and great reviews. Now there's like dozens of them with the practically exact same word titles, and so it doesn't work as well to say go search for that. Luckily, I have a really odd name, but so well. Let's explain to me if I were gonna. Before we do that though, how did you get started as a ghost writer?
Completely by accident. My lifelong ambition as a kid was to become a published author myself someday. Before I was 21, I was 20 years old. I had a two-book deal with an independent publishing house out of Washington, D.C. for a couple of novels that I'd written.
Oh,
I
okay.
dubbed them as Indiana Jones for Millennials, was kind of the pitch of these action adventure novels. And as I was going about promoting these two novels, book fairs, book signings, taking selfies with readers, all that good stuff. A couple of my freelance writing clients, because I had a small freelance writing business at that time, they approached me and they said, "Hey, we checked out your novels, really enjoyed them. They were a blast to read. Is there any chance you can help me with my book? It's not fiction, it's my life story where I'm sharing all the lessons I've gathered over the years. And so I'd like to put them all in one place and have it be an engaging read like your novel was." And that was enough to launch my career as a ghostwriter. I said, "Okay, fine, sure, I'll help you." And I've been saying, "Okay, fine, sure, I'll help you" 40 books later.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so now here's where I'm at, and partly why I was curious about meeting you is I have this little book. It's small. I don't know. I could grab a copy if I wanted to fold it up. But anyway, I'll let you talk, and I'll go grab one because I got a whole pile. No, the nice thing about Amazon publishing in paperback is you just buy a couple. You don't have to buy hundreds like I did the first time. But I have a small book. I did a second edition with more case studies. I think it's probably the best synopsis of what I've done in my career of anything I've done, but it didn't sell. I think there's a great need for something like this, because the fact is most people aren't getting AI to work. 85% of AI projects fail, and ours make money. And so I think it is a good idea. So what would you would you be interested in a third edition? Like or something, where we really just revamp the whole thing from the ground up, or would another book be better? What would you suggest to somebody who's already kind of taken a swing at it, didn't really make any money, didn't really sell anything, didn't really promote it, but know how to write a bit? Go ahead.
I would advise a couple of things. One is some quantitative research, and one is some qualitative research. Got to have both of those research methods in here. The qualitative research, What do readers want? What you do, I wrote an ultimate guide on this for Founder Magazine, the magazine for young executives and entrepreneurs. It goes like this: you want to write a book. In this case, let's say it's about data science, artificial intelligence, AI, etc. So what you would do is you would go to the Amazon reviews, such as the reviews on your book and all the other recently written books. What are the best-selling books, the perennials, the ones that have been around for a few years that people keep buying and recommending to people? Go look at the neutral reviews of those books and look for patterns in the feedback. Now, you want to go neutral because those tend to be the more honest reviews rather than your one-star haters and your five-star fanboys and fangirls who got paid to write the review. So you want to look at the verified neutral reviews, those 2, 3, and 4-star reviews. Look for patterns in the feedback. Are people saying things like, I bought this book because I was hoping to learn ABC. All I got was a paragraph. I wanted more. I'm disappointed in this. 3 stars. You see that over and over and over again. And what it tells you is there are specific topics that other books aren't covering. People are spending their money. They're actually paying. This is not just opinions. There's dollars behind, or whatever your currency, behind these reviews. And people are saying, I bought this book to learn XYZ. I didn't. Or I bought this book because I was looking for something new, and they just gave me the tired old advice I got from Tony Robbins or whatever the
Yeah.
case may
Oh,
be.
yeah. There's a lot of that around. And the interesting part is that tip. I mean, that's worth the price of admission here, for sure, because that tip is also a really interesting way to go. The definition of marketing is find a need and fill it. And, where do you look for needs? Well, there's a good place to look for needs. And
Yeah, that's
so
a qualitative way.
that could apply to my video projects here. It could apply to startup ideas. What's the next big thing, right?
Yeah, so that's where you're actually getting your future readers' feedback. They're literally telling you what they want your book to cover. So if you're working on a third edition, I would definitely follow that bit of advice there. The other part, the quantitative data, there are several analytics tools that you can use, which show you what people are actually buying on Amazon based on their keyword search. So what you do is you go and use one of these tools, such as Publisher Rocket, which I'm a fan of. You type in the keyword related to your book, that people are searching. I would actually call this a two-step process because you don't want to guess. Let's say you have a topic about your book. How to ABC. Okay, so let's say how to ABC. We go over to Google. We use a plugin called Keywords Everywhere. What this tool tells you is how many people are searching a month. So you want the higher
I have
searches. It
used
also
that. Yeah,
tells
I've
you,
used that for other things like
okay,
direct marketing versus
mhm,
AI versus cloud analytics or
sure.
something. And you can find out
Sure.
when a buzzword starts and when it ends.
Right. What you can also find out is what are the variations of those buzzwords, those keywords, to find out what people are actually typing into Google. And then what you do is you copy and paste the top most search ones, maybe phrases you hadn't thought of that your market is actually using when they're going and they're intending to find more information. Put those into Publisher Rocket, copy paste search. What Publisher Rocket tells you is how many people on average search for this book. Like you go to Amazon and actually look for books that have this keyword. They're typing this keyword literally into Amazon. Not only how many per month, but it tells you, are there a lot of competitors? Are there a lot of books that are already on this topic? That's important to know because it also tells you if you rank high, like on the first page, the top couple of spots for that keyword, how many royalties you can make every month. This will blow your mind because it tells you
I bet it
in
would.
dollars,
Yeah.
literally by the dollar, what people are spending their money on based on what they're searching. So it's not just are people searching, are they interested? It's the final stage of the customer journey. Are they
Wow.
actually buying
This is great,
based on this
Joshua.
search?
I wasn't that excited about talking to you because I thought, yeah, you give me the Word document, and I know that when I built this, writing it was easy.
Yeah.
The cover art was as hard as the writing. And I got Scott, a different Scott. Really, he. I have you can't see it, but I have Rumpelstiltskin on the cover, and he looks really excited about the spinning strand of gold. And it was the only image, and this one I uploaded the wrong one a little bit on the paperback, but this was the only image I could find where Rumpelstiltskin didn't look like a villain, because he really isn't in the story. And so and then the promotion, and then in those days, the first edition I just got printed, so it was really a pain in the neck. Um, you didn't answer the question though. Should I go on to another book and just start over? Because we want a different title for sure, and we want a different slant given this background research. One of the things I've never really paid enough attention to was keyword search and clickbait. Today I had my daily live stream was Trump twitches, and it was a story about him setting up a Twitch account or his campaign, and so that was as close to clickbait as I get. It didn't seem to bump it any. So it looks like you're saying, definitely we should start from scratch, right?
It's possible that you would be able to repurpose some of the material,
okay.
maybe stories from your first and second editions of the book. Case studies, definitely, that's always very important to demonstrate proof that you actually do know what you're talking about. Because you and I both know this, John. There's way too many fly-by-night experts, so-called experts, these gurus who come along. Grifters would be the new term.
Better.
They show up in an industry overnight, launch a bunch of products, programs, services, speaking, etc. They basically buy their way onto the TED stage, call themselves an expert, get a six-figure book deal, and have no clue what the hell they're talking about.
Right. And everybody flocks to them, which is sad.
So what we need to do is have a book that beats them at their own game, a hyper-relevant, super exciting masterpiece that will be the reference manual for years to come on your topic.
Well, that's kind of what I was aiming for, to be honest. And I got the reviews. None of them were paid, and every review was just, this is real, and this is how it's done, and it actually works, and this is something the industry needs. I was actually aiming at sort of how to lie with statistics as a kind of a size. I was very pleased with the way the paperback came out. It was actually quite a bit bigger than I thought. It's like a half inch, though. It's like I said, it's 100 some pages. It's not the 300 page tome. But anyway, so what do I do? Just write out a check for $100,000 and hope?
If only it were that easy.
Do I have to come to Dayton? Live there for a few months or what? What's your process? If how do we start? Do you share royalties if you think that the person has some merit, or do you just take the money up front, and like much of the self-publishing world historically has done, right?
Yes. So a certified professional ghostwriter, which I am, there's fewer than 50 of us on the planet right now. I'm the only one in Ohio.
Okay.
The way that we work is similar to a CPA. They're a trusted third-party advisor whose job is to make sure you make the smartest decisions that will create success.
Okay.
Now, whether that's an accountant handling your books or a certified ghostwriter handling your book, it's the same process. So there's no royalty share or anything like that, because we don't want to be in a position where there are too many cooks in the kitchen, and I want to be one, you want to be another. If it's 50-50, the book is doomed in that case. So I remain the certified ghostwriter, the fellow behind the scenes. Every project is iterative, so it's not like that big check up front. I disappear for a year, come back with the manuscript, and you get a week to review it and approve it. Some ghostwriters do it that way.
Yeah.
I do not. It's a collaborative, iterative process. I have a few different plans for working with authors. Most of them, we do a 10-month timeline. The book is done in about 5 or 6 months.
I know.
But that remaining, a quarter or so of the process is to promote the book, pre-promote the book, get the sales up front, get interviews, get these bookings out of the way, so that when the book comes to be, when it comes to life and it's out and available, right on that day and a couple of days after, the week or two after that, everyone around your industry is hearing about you all at once. Did this with a Canadian author in the health and wellness industry. She had 30 big major interviews, go live. The day her book was published, she became a national bestseller. Secret, those interviews, we had booked them up to 5 months in advance. And she did them, 5 months prior, several of them. And then we just asked them to not post them until the day the book came out. So these are little strategies that we work
Sure.
into this
Good point.
process to make sure that it's a winning venture.
Now, Scott's asking everybody to buy it pre-release. What does that do for an author?
Yes, yes. When you, as a reader, buy a book from an outlet that is tracked by BookScan is owned by Nielsen,
right.
the ratings company.
Right.
So if it's a BookScan tracked book, then BookScan will take all the pre-orders and count them towards the first day of publication. So like all of the promotional activities that an author does before their book comes out, all of the copies that are pre-ordered, congratulations, those count towards the first day book sales. If you sell 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 copies of the book, and Nielsen reports that, or BookScan rather reports that to the major bestseller lists, such as USA Today, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, or whatever country you're in, Globe and Mail, for example, Sunday Times, then congratulations, you've made that bestseller list for the week. So everything is a weekly bestseller list. The Amazon platform for their bestseller, it's not based on weeks, it's based on hourly sales and also by category. Now, if you're like a digital marketing author where there's a lot of competition in your space, you're going up against like Gary Vaynerchuk or Simon Sinek, some of the bigger names.
No, I'm direct mail, and there's no competition at all.
Yeah. If you're writing publishing a book in New Testament studies, you could probably sell 3 copies.
Yeah, I actually have one of those too in theology, and I've sold more than 3. But yeah, right.
Good.
Okay, so that sounds interesting, and I'm actually gonna pursue this a little more and at least find out what your plans are. I'm assuming there are like the you're not gonna do the we'll spend 2 days talking and then record it all and hand you back a book. That's not your method, but it is iterative. But I'm sure there's some plans where the author does more of the work, more of the writing, and some where they do less, right? Like accounting. I've had accountants. I've had some pretty funny accountants. Back in the day, like, what's QuickBooks? Let's close out your month. I said, we don't close out months. We have QuickBooks. We just do it whenever we feel like it, and when we make the change, it's changed. Oh, that guy didn't last.
Sure. Yes, we have a done with you plan. Basically, the author does the heavy lifting under the guidance of the experienced certified professional ghostwriter with commercial success.
Yeah, you.
And we make sure that it follows the plan, that we've taken the feedback of readers out there into the world, and we're actually writing a book that we know, based on the facts, that people are actually going to buy. So, and I just simply guide the process and lead the author through that journey so that they don't deviate and end up inserting deal breakers into the manuscript that doom the thing before it ever sees the light of publication.
And so, in a sense, it sounds to me like you're more of a writer, editor, and business consultant sort of packed together. Is that fair?
That's fair. Every project I have is a little different. Some people are like, even if I'm their ghostwriter, they want to be super involved. They see the first draft and then they read. Maybe we had usually we meet for an hour a week for 2 to 3 months to really flesh this thing out. One chapter at a time, one new chapter a week. And some authors, they'll read it once. They'll say, "This is perfect. You got the year wrong on that. That's okay. Good to go," other than fixing the year on that, for example. And then other authors, they'll read the chapter and they're like, "This is in my voice. I don't know how you did it, Joshua. It's magical. That's why they call you a ghostwriter."
Right.
It feels like me. I can't even tell I work with a ghostwriter, but now you've got my creative energy all excited. And so they'll spend a little bit of time joyously typing away, adding, as they read, the stream of consciousness starts going and they're reminded of another story. They just put it in there and they because they have a ghostwriter, they don't have to self-censor or self-edit, which is what distorts your writing
Right.
process, and you end up kind of handing a glob of nothing out into the world. Like you're trying to please every potential reader all at once, and so as a lot of funny cartoons and memes out there show, you produce something that's not at all functional because it includes a little bit of what everyone
Sure. Well,
wants.
I've
So
always
that's
felt
why the process of working with a ghostwriter
get
is
yeah,
often the superior path.
getting a good editor is kind of a chicken egg puzzle because until you're recognized as a good author, you don't get to a good publisher that has a good editor. So your sister-in-law is doing it or somebody, and that may undermine the process as much as it helps it. And so until you don't need an editor, you don't get one. It's almost, if you
Mm.
know what I'm saying. So this sounds like a way to break through that cycle. So that sounds pretty good too.
Indeed, everything is ultimately edited according to Chicago manual style guidelines. That's the guideline for the traditional publishing world, so that the quality of everything I produce is indistinguishable from that which is on bookstore shelves or on the New York Times bestseller list. And the Chicago manual style is everything from characters versus symbols versus spelling it out to word choice to where does this adverb go? Do we repeat this theme? Does this language tire people out? All sorts of stylistic considerations are part of the final edit process, which you just don't get from the self-publishing
Right, right.
path.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add? Because this is, to me, it's been just really fascinating. I'm real excited to share this.
Yes, and that would just be a reminder for everyone who's watching, and they're like, "Wow, I could think of about 10 people whose books I've read that were total crap, and I need to put something out there that beats all of those suckers." So, what I'm going to do, you say to yourself, I am going to go over to Amazon. So, go do that now. Go over to Amazon and the book category, go look at the bestseller list. Pick the top 4 bestsellers and go look at those neutral reviews the next chance you get, whether that's now, whether
Yeah, I'm
that's
going to do
later
that.
this evening or this morning, and go see what people are wanting from your book.
Wow, this is great. This has been one of the best interviews, and it's a little off topic for me, and it's been, I think, more interesting than most of the stuff I have to say. So thank you so much, Joshua, and I will put a link for everybody who, are you taking new clients, or you're too busy now, right?
I am mega busy, yes, but the first opening we have is January for 2020. I expect those spots to go fast, so if you want in, I would not hesitate to have a conversation now. The last quarter of the year, get the ball rolling at least. We can begin some of the market research, customer research before the January 2020 start date. I booked a couple of people already to start in January. So if you're thinking maybe this is going to be something interesting I want to consider, go ahead and hop on and we'll talk about
Okay.
your book and we'll make sure that it's going in the right direction before you even start
So
it.
I'll link your LinkedIn right into this when I post it. Well, thank you very much again. And it sounds like you're having a lot of fun and working with people you like. And I think that's sort of the key to life. So thanks again. We'll sign off. I always tell everybody, like and share. Share shows you care, but your friends will think you're smart. Have a great day, Joshua. Bye bye.
You're